Alright, so you've dropped into the eerie halls of Abiotic Factor, and let's be real, just swinging a wrench and grabbing scraps isn't going to cut it if you actually want to survive. You need a place to call home, a spot where you can stash your loot, craft in peace, and regroup after those terrifying encounters. But here's the thing, not every corner of the facility is going to treat you kindly. Some areas are perfect little hideouts early on, while others shine later when you're ready to take on bigger challenges. In today's video, we're diving into the best spots to set up your base in Abiotic Factor. Whether you're the kind of player who loves a quiet, secure hideaway, or someone who thrives in a central hub with quick access to resources, we've got you covered. By the end, you'll know which locations give you the most balance between safety, convenience, and long-term survival. Let's get into it. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. Alright, let's talk about one of my favorite early game spots in Abiotic Factor, the Cafeteria Security Office. This place is tucked right near the atrium, so it is super convenient to get to without wandering too far into dangerous areas. The room itself is pretty spacious, which makes it perfect for laying down the basics of your base without feeling cramped. Another big win here is the number of entrances. There are not many, and once you barricade them, it turns into a really solid defensive point against whatever horrors are lurking around. Now, the real kicker with this spot is the cafeteria connection. You have easy access to emergency rations and pre-packaged meals that are scattered around. Having a reliable food source right at your base in the early game is a game changer. No need to panic about starving while you are still trying to figure out where everything is. Plus, the cafeteria is a goldmine for basic supplies like utensils, plates, pots, and pans. It may not sound glamorous, but these are the kinds of little details that make survival smoother. All of this combined means that the Cafeteria Security Office is not just a safe place to hole up, but also a sustainable one. You have space for your setup, a naturally defendable structure, and access to food right on your doorstep. It is one of those locations that feels like the developers almost wanted to give players a starter home in the chaos. If you are just kicking off your run, this spot will carry you through the early exploration phase without too much stress. Let's move on to another solid option for setting up a base, the Level 3 Break Room. This spot is right between Silo 2 and Silo 3, and honestly, it is one of the more convenient locations you can claim. It has plenty of space, complete with a kitchen, bathrooms, and even working vending machines. Having those nearby means you are not just surviving, you are surviving in style. Plus, being close to the offices gives you extra room for crafting stations and storage without needing to wander too far. What makes this place especially interesting is how open it is. You have a wide field of view, which means you can spot enemies before they get too close and pick them off with ranged weapons. That kind of visibility makes defending your base a lot easier compared to tighter, more claustrophobic rooms. The only catch? There is a robot that can spawn here at random. So, every time you return, you need to be ready for a potential fight. Luckily, you can use the workbenches in the area to force the robot to despawn, which is a neat little trick to keep in mind. Now, there are a couple of drawbacks. The break room only has chairs and sofas, so if you want proper rest or health regeneration, you will need to craft beds or sleeping bags. On top of that, while it is safer than some of the lower levels, it is not invincible. Hostile entities can still break through, so barricades and turrets are a must if you plan on making this your long-term home. Overall, though, it is a versatile and practical spot that gives you both resources and defensive advantages, as long as you are prepared for the occasional robot fight. Tram stations might not be the first places you think of when it comes to building a base, but they actually have a lot going for them. These areas function as central hubs, giving you quick access to multiple parts of the map. That alone makes them incredibly useful if you are the type of player who likes to move around for resources or exploration. The layout is also pretty open, which means you can see enemies from a distance instead of getting ambushed in a cramped hallway. What really sets tram stations apart are the hidden features in higher level or restricted areas. You can find maintenance tunnels, storage lockers, and even secret rooms. These little hideaways are perfect for stashing valuables or setting up a safer, tucked-away base that is not immediately obvious to enemies. Having those secret spaces means you are not just relying on the wide-open platforms, but you also get secure fallback spots if things go south. And here is where it gets really fun. The environment itself becomes part of your defense. You can turn pillars, railings, and even the tram tracks into strategic choke points. With some creativity, you can set up deployable cover, or even use the terrain as traps to slow down or damage enemies. It might feel a bit unconventional at first, but that is what makes tram stations such an underrated option. If you want a base that is both tactical and practical, this is one of the smartest moves you can make. The security office is easily one of the most popular choices for a base, and it is not hard to see why. With fewer access points than most open areas, it naturally creates choke points that are easy to secure. You can line them with barricades, traps, or even automated turrets to keep hostile entities at bay. On top of that, its location is incredibly practical, sitting close to major areas like Silo 2 and manufacturing, so you are never too far from essential resources. The bonus of medical supplies and a steady power source nearby makes survival here even smoother. Of course, there is a catch. This is a restricted area, so you will need proper clearance before you can even think about claiming it. That extra step means you might not be able to rush in and set up camp right away, but once you gain access, it is definitely worth the effort. Think of it as a mid-game upgrade, something to aim for after your initial setup in more accessible zones. One of the coolest perks here is the functional amenities. The security computers are not just for show. They can hold useful information about the Abiotic Factor itself, as well as access codes for other lockdown zones. That kind of intel can give you a real edge in exploration. The office also has plenty of room for beds, crafting stations, and storage, though you will need to tweak the space to fit your personal playstyle. All in all, if you want a base that combines safety, resources, and strategic positioning, the security office checks all the boxes. The gym and kitchen combo is one of those locations that makes your base feel less like a hideout and more like an actual home. The kitchen is a huge advantage, with working power, a stove, and refrigerators that let you cook and store scavenged food or rations without hassle. Having that setup means you are not scrambling for meals every day, which takes a lot of stress out of the early game. Plus, with the nearby bathrooms and locker rooms, you have built-in options for bedrooms or storage areas without needing to carve out extra space elsewhere. Then there is the gym, which might sound a little odd at first, but it is actually perfect for survival. The pool area and wide-open floor make it easy to organize your crafting stations. Whether you are working on weapon maintenance, armor repairs, or building new tools, the gym gives you more than enough room to expand as you progress. It is the kind of location that grows with you, rather than forcing you to move when things get more complex. Another great perk is the visibility. The gym's open design provides excellent sightlines, so you will see trouble coming before it reaches your doorstep. That gives you time to prepare barricades, traps, or turrets to keep threats at bay. Altogether, the gym and kitchen setup is not just practical, it is also comfortable, with everything you need to balance survival and expansion in one central hub. If you want a base that feels both secure and sustainable, this is one of the best picks in Abiotic Factor. The Level 2 elevator is not the most obvious choice for a base, but it definitely has some unique advantages. Its design naturally makes it defensible, with solid metal walls enclosing most of the space. That means you only have to worry about a single entry point, which can be heavily fortified with barricades, traps, or even a turret if you want to lock it down completely. For players who value mobility and tight control over their defenses, this setup can feel incredibly secure. Now, the biggest drawback is space, or rather the lack of it. The elevator itself does not have room for crafting stations, which can be a deal breaker if you want everything in one place. However, the clever move here is to treat the elevator like a fortified gateway. You can set up your crafting and storage on a nearby floor and use the elevator as your quick escape and defensive fallback. It keeps you connected to your supplies while giving you a stronghold that is hard for enemies to breach. Resting will take a little creativity as well, since there are no built-in beds or comfortable spaces inside the elevator. You will need to look to nearby areas for sleeping bags or makeshift rest zones, and using shadows or existing cover can help keep you safe while you recover. In short, the Level 2 elevator is less of a homey base and more of a tactical one. If you want a base that doubles as both a defensive bunker and a fast travel hub, this is a surprisingly effective choice. The Analysis Office is a fantastic option if you are looking for a spacious and secure base near Silo 3. This area is sectioned into multiple zones, with sturdy walls, security doors, and reliable power points that give you plenty of flexibility in how you set things up. On top of that, it comes with a decent variety of useful items, although the exact amenities you find here are randomized. That little element of surprise can sometimes give you an early advantage if you get lucky with supplies. One of the biggest perks of this location is the sheer amount of space. You can easily organize storage areas for all your loot without feeling cramped, and there is more than enough room to establish dedicated crafting or utility zones. The layout also makes it easy to create scouting spots so you can keep an eye on the surroundings and plan ahead for incoming threats. It is a base that rewards players who like to stay organized and strategic. Another advantage is that monsters do not spawn directly inside the office itself. That makes the interior feel much safer than many other base options, giving you peace of mind while you build and rest. However, enemies do roam just outside, so you are not completely off the hook. Setting up turrets or traps at the entrances will go a long way in keeping the area locked down. All in all, the Analysis Office offers a great mix of space, security, and flexibility, making it one of the more reliable mid-game base locations in Abiotic Factor. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.